Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing 90 Day UK. So, very similarly with what we're doing with HEA, we are going to be doing 2 of the older episodes of 90 Day UK in this episode. And actually, which episode am I on? 4? Yeah, so we do have 2 episodes, and we're gonna get a new one. So yeah, we're gonna be doing episode 4 and 5 in this episode, and then we'll do sex in its own episode. So that's what we're gonna be doing for this one as well. So with that, again, we're not gonna have any hot goss, no ads of any sense as well in this. We're just gonna be going through the episode. So without further ado, let's head into the episode. So, 90 Day UK, Season 3, Episode 4. You can't trust him. So, we have a new couple here. We got Sam. She's 28 from Newcastle. She has been working as in her office job, does the regular 9 to 5, I guess. And she loves to dance. So she's been dancing since she was 2. And she's like, it's like Billy Elliot. Jesus. Okay. She lives with her mom. And she's like, this feels kind of like a smothered type situation. They're really close, which is whatever. But it's like maybe too close. But anyway, so they're basically putting on these face masks together. One of them says it looks like KY jelly. I think it was her mom. And I'm like, Jesus, okay. Then we hear about her boyfriend, Ali, who's from Turkey. And she says that, so yeah, something about like how she met him or whatever. And she kind of like ditched her mom to be with him or some shit. But anyways, I can't remember all the details, but she has probably been with him in person about 10 weeks. So she is, worrying about the visa. Mom was skeptical about him, and we'll get to him because, yeah, so am I. So she's like, you're a lot, okay? And she's basically, working to pay for this visa by herself, I guess. And it's just like something that her mom says here too about him and about this whole process and everything. And the way she responds to her, it gives me Nicole from Nicole and Hassan vibes, where she's like, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Okay, mom. Like childish is basically what I'm trying to get to. She gives me those vibes. So then we are seeing her trying to call Ali. He's not answering, but then he does eventually answer. And he's like, I'm fucking drinking. Do you have a problem? And she's like, yes, actually I do. And she's like getting really riled up with him. And he's like moaning and groaning. And she is like, you're giving me a headache. Hang up the fucking phone. What the fuck? Anyways. So she's like, well, what were you drinking? And he's like, a blue vodka, I think is what it was. She's like, where'd you get that from? I didn't bring it. It's an English drink. Where'd you get that from? Who brought you that? She's just going off. And I said, they couldn't potentially import it to fucking Turkey. You know what I mean? Or technically export it to Turkey. I'm confused. No, export. Yeah, export. Yeah, that's the right term, right? Export it to Turkey. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is the issue here? Like, I'm like, what is this argument that they're having? They're both very childish. And when we find out how old he is, like, he is a fucking child. But I'm just like, I mean, not as bad as like Johan, but still a child. But it's just like, this argument is really fucking stupid. Really fucking stupid. But anyway. And then she's like, I gotta go, or some shit. And he's like, where are you going? She's like, none yet. I'm just hanging up. So they're really fucking dumb, both of them. Anyway, we meet Ali. He is 23 years old. So not much older than Johan, but still he's young. And he's like, I'm a playboy. I see my target, I calculate, I get reports, and I go after it. This is what he did to her. Like, grown ass people acting stupid. But anyway, he's like, I go after them, I'm cheeky. Anyways, he lives in a hotel. Let me repeat, he lives in a fucking hotel. Which, whatever, you do what you gotta do, but this man doesn't have his fucking life together. And she's gonna marry him? I don't know, man. He says he loves gaming, which, whatever, I guess, that's fine, but like, that's gonna be another bone of contention for them, because all he's gonna want to do is play games. She's gonna get mad at him. Can really see it. He says he wants to be a pro gamer in the UK, so he wants a fucking Twitch account. He says that I wanted to marry a foreigner when I was a kid. So he literally decided when he was like, I don't know, 10 or I may rephrase, like 18, so like 5 years ago, that he wanted to marry a foreigner. He's using her. And she's so fucking dense that she doesn't realize that. Like, I actually really don't like her. So, anyway, he's like, I get bored. I'm bored of the women here. Plus, they got money. So, And he's like, I will be rich there. Not if you want to be a fucking pro gamer, and doing like Twitch accounts and shit. You're not going to be rich at all. And she probably isn't rich herself. So we then see him with his friends playing ping pong. And his friends are jealous because he has a British woman and they want one too. What the fuck is this? Feels like a catfishing ring. He's like, I'll when I get there, I'll find out her friends and stuff, and I'll bring them back your way or some shit. It's like, what the hell is happening? Anyway, we do ask like, how's the relationship? And he says, too much talking, too much jealousy, just too much. And I'm just like, well, I mean, definitely actually too much talking, because it's like you're arguing with him over fucking the type of vodka he was drinking. Like, Jesus. But he also says at the same time, I love the jealousy. Because for whatever reason that I don't really care to know. And then we're meeting up with Nicole, which I think is her friend. And she has also been with a Turkish man before for 6 years. They're not together now. It sounds like he potentially used her. And she asks Sam, like, does he ask for money? He probably just wants to be with her, to be in the UK and everything. And maybe you should tell him you will move there, see what his reaction is to you kind of playing a game here to see if he would, like, how he would react if you said you want to move to Turkey. And her friend is, definitely getting it though, because she's kind of right, as we just kind of saw with him. He wants to be in the UK so he can be rich, and he always wanted to be with a foreigner, and here he is with a foreigner, and it's like everything is kind of adding up. You're not always gonna get like a Mert, right? Or bees. You're not gonna get that. Like, there are those guys. I mean, there's guys like that everywhere, but she's basically trying to say that Turkish men are just trying to use people to get to where they want to get to, which I don't think is the case. That's very generally saying that, but we'll give her a pass because she's obviously been burned by a Turkish man. But it's like, not all Turkish men, not all men, but it's definitely, I hear her. And I think this is definitely the case with this guy. So yeah, she's definitely, like, I will say her friend is projecting her own feelings, But she's definitely speaking the truth here. So there's that. But that's basically it for Sam and Allie. Let's move on to Charlotte and Johan. So we still see her waiting for him, but ooh, iguana. Not yet, not him, but he is here. And he's like, oh my God, I am so relieved to see that, he's here. What was I even worried about? That's because you're irrational. Your irrational side of your brain starts to come because, I don't know if he's using her. I don't know enough, but it definitely looks like he's maybe not. At least right now, anyways. Like, I'm not too sure about his mom, but I don't know if he really is. I don't know, but he's giving you no reason to really worry. Like, you worry because of his job, I get it, but he's not really giving you a reason to worry. And you get so irrational all the time that he doesn't answer his phone. He's probably with somebody. Or he, because of his job, he's probably talking to somebody because that's what he did with you. And it's just like, it's irrational. Or is it? Like, I don't know. But anyway, she's like, I just gotta remember the charming man I'm marrying. Okay. So they go down to the beach and he says that he would like to send like $300 a month back to his family. I'm assuming that's in pounds. I don't know, because that's a lot of money in like pounds. Like, dollar amount is more than pounds, so it's a lot of money. But I don't know if he meant pounds or dollars or what. But she doesn't seem to have an issue though with that. So anyway, they do want to have 3 kids. He wants 2 boys and 1 girl. So here you go. So then we're going to Johan's mom, and we're also going to be seeing his little brother, who is adorable. And she says, oh, the roof's okay? And his mom's like, well, it leaks when it rains, which, I don't know if I was not doing it before. I don't know. And she's like, is there anything that your mom needs? And his mom's like, well, now that you mention it, the cooker is broken. I think she actually means the stove is broken. Yeah, that we're going to need to fix that. She's like, I need to see the doctor. So how much will the doctor fees be? Well, they're probably going to send me to do tests too. So, there's that. I need surgery. And she wants to wait till her kids, or at least her son is older, I guess, to do surgery. I'm not sure. And Johan says, if Charlotte loves me, she does have to help my family. Which, he was already doing that, helping his family as much as he can. So if she's going to take him away from the DR, then I guess she's kind of taking it on. I don't know. At least until he can get a job and, at least he's being forthcoming with her on that. And she seems totally okay. But Charlotte asks here, like, we're going to need to send money. We're going to have to do that. Yes, he told you that already. So it's not surprising that, yes, you are going to need to send money. So, yeah. So we're checking out our first venue, the next scene. It's a beach, whatever. You can't go wrong with the beach. But it's only her there. He has to work, so she's alone with this. And even with, like, I noticed here, everyone here is saying his name correctly, Johan. Because the J is not pronounced as a J. It's not. It's Johan. And I know Johan can obviously be spelled with a Y or with a J. In this case, it's J. But even when people say his name correctly, she still fucking says Johan. Are you dense? I'm sorry. You should not be marrying him if you can't fucking say his name correctly. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway. So, it pisses me off. I refuse to say Johan. Because it's not his fucking name. Anyway. But to just act out the wedding with this random woman just to be sure that this is gonna work out. It's great. Anyways, that's it for Charlotte and Johan. Let's move on to John and Sprite. So we are back in Cornwall, And I wrote, did he get his bake back? I think he might have said he did, but I don't know. John is job hunting, and he's like, I gotta be on the same level as Sprite, you know? He has this glamorous job, and I need to do the same, you know? He would be proud of me if I got this job that he's gonna be applying for. Sprite is still complaining about the country. He hates it. He's like, people tell me, like, why would you move? Why can't he move to Thailand and whatever? And and I think he says to him, like, you need to get money or something. But he says, you know, oh sorry, yeah, the real he was talking about Thailand. His friend says, like, you are the one who has the money, and he says, yes, but I'm gonna do it because I said I was going to. I need to have a lot of money though, so he needs to get this fucking job. So John is baking a cake, I guess, to practice for the interview, and he has like his chef outfit on, and he's like, "You like it?" And Sprite says, "You look like my grandpa." What? Then Sprite, oh my god, I'm gonna rant in a minute. Sprite says, "Add MSG to the cake." What the fuck? No. First of all, number one, MSG is horrible for you. You should not be cooking. No one should be fucking cooking with MSG in this day and age. Ever. Ever. Like, even if me and my mom go to like a different, like a new Chinese place or something like that, or even a Thai place, any Asian food place, we always have to check to make sure they don't cook with MSG. They literally, like, these are places that used to cook with MSG all the time back in the 90s. Because again, remember, everyone was cooking with MSG in the 90s, right? And then they did the research on MSG and that was starting to stop. But there are definitely places that still cook with MSG. They're out there. Okay. And you know they do when you go to bed that night and you have some weird ass dreams that it was MSG. Okay. They were cooking with MSG. But MSG is so bad for you. Even my grandmother, my dad's mom, would cook with MSG. It makes the food taste good. Don't get me wrong. But MSG is so bad for you. But who the fuck adds MSG to cakes? Is that something you do? You don't add MSG to a cake. You know what I mean? It's so weird. Honestly, I don't even understand how they still sell MSG. So, yeah, and then we start talking about how you kill someone with the, how, was it with like a pot or something? Anyway, yeah, he's like, oh, he was boiling something, like some sort of something for the cake, and he says, I just make this and then I throw it at somebody. Case closed. So then so he's making a drip cake. I need to point that out. So he's making a drip cake. He starts putting the drip on the cake. It just Sprite's like, it looks like shit. And John is getting completely overwhelmed at this point. He's like, can you fucking stop, basically? And Sprite says, I'm putting I'm putting the pressure on him because he has to be a top chef. He has to get this job. And John at this point flips out at him and says, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Okay? You're bugging me, get out. But he does eventually let him come back in to look at the cake. Why didn't John just stop with the drip? Because I think if he just did the drip, it would have been fine. He added all this other fucking fluff to the cake, and it's like, I wouldn't even buy a cake that looked like that in a fucking, out of like a fucking, like Walmart display case or something. Or whatever, like any small display case in a grocery store. I would not have bought that fucking cake. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. It didn't even look good. And it's funny too, because I was actually having a conversation. So I'm recording this on a Saturday, and my brother graduated yesterday. And we went out to lunch or whatever afterwards. And we were talking about the fact, like, you eat with your eyes as well as with your mouth, right? And if obviously something tastes good, you need it to look good. And I'm sure that cake tastes good, but it fucking didn't look good. And I don't even think I could eat that. It didn't look good. It didn't look at all appetizing. So anyway, now they are in bed, and He says, him getting a better job, it benefits me too. Which, yeah, it definitely, when you are a couple, it's going to benefit the both of you. When you get a better job or you get better pay or like whatever, it benefits both of you. So John is at the interview, or he was at the interview. He's in the car now and he's on his way home. And he says, I didn't get the job. He said the kitchen was a lot for him. It was overwhelming. He's not used to it. And he's back at the house and he's like, he's nervous to tell Sprite that he didn't get it. Not sure how he's going to react. And he tells him, I didn't get the job. And Sprite immediately, I was shocked by this, but it's actually really great to see. I think Sprite really does care for him. He's a little bitch and I love it about him. But he just immediately says to him, it's okay. You tried. You have to sometimes fail to get to where you need to be. And that's very true. Yes, you do. I love this. Good for you, Sprite. So Sprite is cooking for him, to make him feel better. And I think he made spinach along with the rest of the food. And John's like, Sprite, did you wash the spinach? And Sprite's like, no. What the fuck? And John's like, yeah, because I can taste the dirt. Like he can literally feel the dirt. And ew. There's a PSA for everybody. I know it's a polarizing subject when it comes to washing your meat, which you should. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't understand people who don't. And I know the whole thing as well. You're gonna, contaminate your surfaces. You clean your surfaces. You don't just wash the meat and say, dum. You know what I mean? You clean the sink. Okay? With all the stuff. Okay? You clean the countertop with all the stuff. I'm sorry. But that aside, you should always be washing your vegetables because they do hold dirt. Even if they say it's been pre-washed, you still wash it. Are you kidding? We'll buy like lettuce or whatever that says it's already been pre-washed. I don't care. I'm washing it again. You wash your vegetables, you wash your fruits. You have to because it holds dirt. They're dirty. I don't know. And he's like, why would I do that? Why would I do that? So what if you're going to eat dirt? So what? Anyway, it was cute. It was funny. But anyways, that's it for, that's it for them. So let's go to Nicole and Taher, which I think that's the last couple for this episode. She is going to Egypt and in Egypt with him, and Taher is waiting for her and he can't wait to see her. Miss England, he can't wait to see her. And here she is, and they're happy, whatever. It's a nice reunion, obviously, very conservative reunion. But they go to the hotel, and she's like, where's my rose petals? Where are my rose petals? You don't need your fucking rose petals, okay? Anyway, then she shows him her pink nail polish, which is only on a few of the nails. In particular, is on her middle finger. And he says, no, women don't do that. They don't stick their middle finger. Watch me. I'm doing it right now, even though you can't see me because this is an audio podcast. But anyways, you know what I mean? The fuck? Anyways, I understand, but like, you're trying to tell me that Egyptian women don't say fuck you with their fingers? Anyways, 48 hours earlier though, we see him with his brothers. He says he's nervous about leaving Egypt and everything will be different. And, does he maybe not want to actually move to England? I don't know. But back to the present, she says that she's excited for him to be in England with her. And in the moment, he says, I don't want to move. Oh, so when I'm meeting up with his friends, and she asks so I think it's this Egyptian guy with either an American woman or a British woman, I can't remember. And she just asks her, like, how do you feel about, having to hide your body and everything? And she says, it is what it is, And then they do ask about, like, what it's like in her town. is there a mosque that he can get to easily? And she says, well, no, there's no mosque, but there is kind of like a prayer center, so he can definitely go there and pray there. So it's kind of like if you go to like a hospital and you have what is kind of like a chapel or whatever, so you can go there and anyone can go there and do what they have to do with whatever religion they have. Same thing you have on schools too. So it's kind of like something like that. And he can definitely go there and he can pray there. So he says he loves that. So we're good. We're good. And he seems to be okay with the idea of moving now. And I totally understand his reservation in, am I going to be happy fully with being in England? And he doesn't want to forget his religion and everything like that, which is fair. So he seems to be okay with everything that he's hearing, which is all you can ask for. But yeah, that's basically it for them in this episode. And yeah, that's basically it. Where is I Love You Chicken? Why aren't they here yet? What's going on? Maybe they're on the 5th episode and I just haven't seen it yet. So, but yeah, I haven't actually watched the 5th episode yet. But anyway, we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we will jump in with the 5th episode of 90 Day UK. And I am back again, a little late. Literally recording this right after recording HEA, or the last half of HEA. But let's get into the next episode of UK, which is episode 5, Happy Wife, Happy Life. First we have Jamie and Kathleen. So we are at the beach. And he thinks he's doing something nice for her, but she's like, I don't like the beach. I don't like it. I can't swim. Like, why am I here? And she says that he's too hairy when putting sunblock on him, because of course he can't put fucking sunblock on himself. He needs someone to take care of him and do it for him. And he's like, I know you love to take care of me. She's like, no, I don't. I don't fucking like taking care of you. You fucking lazy piece of shit. You do something for your fucking self. Or better yet, if you really want someone who's going to take care of you, then I suggest just marry your mom. Just marry your mom. Probably want to do it anyways. You sick fuck. And he literally says to make this even worse, is he says, you know, I'm really taking care of me. That's why I'm with the Filipino woman, because they take care of their men. You're sick. And she says she doesn't like taking care of him all the time. He says, so let's call mom because she loves the beach. What does calling your mom to talk about the beach have anything to do with the situation at hand? She's not on the beach. She's back in England. Okay. Calling her to rub in her face that we were at the beach is fucking ridiculous. This is so stupid. So they call her and she's like, I miss you. I miss you too. And she's like, it's so quiet here without you here. Like, this the codependency. And Kathleen feels very awkward in this moment while he's talking to his mom. He says, Kathleen is really taking care of me, mom. She's really good at it. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? He's an idiot. I can't stand him. Anyway, so we're going to be going out to hang out with friends. And the friends definitely know what's happened. They don't like him. And when they get there, they say to him, so any plans, Jamie, for the future? And he says, well, I do want to bring her to England. And this one friend, Minetta, I think is how you say it, Minetta, or like, absolutely hates him and hates that Kathleen just won't break up. Like, what is holding you here? And Kathleen does go outside with her friends, but yeah, her one friend there, the Minetta, or whatever her name is, basically says, listen, I'm saying the part that should be crossing your mind is that once a cheater, always a cheater. He's probably going to do it again. Now, first of all, we've talked about it. He didn't cheat on her because they weren't together. It's ethically immoral. But yeah, she's like, what if he cheats again? And yeah, that's fair. But I think it's all the next day, and he's like, yeah, that Manetta friend of yours, real awkward. Does she like me? What makes you think she fucking does? Of course she doesn't fucking like you, Amy. I don't fucking like you. No one fucking likes you. And she says no, but it is because of the cheating. But yeah, that's basically it for Jamie and Kathleen. But let's move on to Sam and Allie. So she is packing for Turkey, and she's like, oh, yeah, I think she's like, he's being positive or something. And she's like, can you trust him, or can I trust him? Whatever. And she's like, in order to help my trust issues, he just needs to communicate with me. He could be using me to get to the country. Yeah, he is. He's definitely doing that. And then we were with Allie, and he is, printing up the room, and he doesn't understand why women love flowers. But happy wife, happy life, name of the episode. And he said, I just want to focus on the visa. Of course you do. And he's getting ready. And he said, I have the button right up to the top, otherwise she'll be jealous. That's fucking ridiculous. He admits that he is also jealous, though. Sorry, he is at the airport waiting for her. And he's like, come on, Sam, where are you? Always late. And then they do finally see each other, and he shows her, or she throws, or whatever, shove the flowers at him or something. And that's a joke, I guess, but these two are toxic. And she's like to him, why can't you hold my hand? Hold my hand. Hold my hand. And he says that he says that he has to work tomorrow. And yeah, basically they get to the van or whatever, and she doesn't even help get anything in the car. She's like, I let them all the way here, so the least he can do is like, yeah, but this is your shit. Why do you have so much of it? But then it's the next day. Yeah, I think he says, like, let's try to not argue or something, or maybe she does. One of them says it, like, let's try not to argue, although that's going to be really short-lived. And yeah, but when it comes to the arguing, she basically says, like, if you just do as you're told, like, everything will be kind of fine. And then, he says, you're just jealous, and so is he, apparently. But he goes to, like, touch her hair, and she, like, loses it at him. And she's like, don't stroke me, I'm not a dog. And it's like, he didn't say you fucking were. Like, he's using her, for sure. But she's a fucking miserable person. Why do you have to be like that? She's so miserable. Anyway, now they're going for a walk, I believe, and they were going for lunch. But yeah, I think, like, there's something that she doesn't like with the food or something like that, and she does eventually try something, but she spits it out, and it's just like manners, basically. And then she says to him, after this, is like, it's like, everything that I'm doing for you, like, once you're in the UK and you're working, you have to pay me back for your portion of this. What? Again, similarly to talking about Gino and, getting kind of like him constantly wanting this appreciation back from Jasmine. You made a choice to sponsor somebody from a different country in order to be with. Don't do this, well, you owe me kind of situation. No, he fucking doesn't. And you shouldn't expect him to. Like, it's ridiculous. And when do you think he's gonna get a job? And what do you think that job was gonna entail initially? But anyway, the next scene, she's alone waiting on him to show up from work. She's putting on makeup, and she kind of struggles with one of her eyelashes because it falls off. But everything has to be perfect, she says. But yeah, it's basically for Sam and Ellie. Like I said, they're miserable together. And clearly miserable of heart as well. But moving on. We have a new person. So we have Tony, who's 45 from London, raised in Newcastle. He says that something to do with scooters. Anyway, he has been in charge of celebs, kind of like Naomi Watts, Tom Cruise, kind of gets that more of a safe version, fitter. He says that the ex is military, so he loves, I think ordering is what I wrote. Anyway, he lives a champagne lifestyle, his words. So he met a girl last year in Thailand, and her name is Nui. I like Nui already. And yes, she's gorgeous. We see him calling her, and he says that she's down to earth. She's going to get her teeth, but she's going to be just sending over some money. And but yeah, he tells someone that I met, I guess met her in Thailand. He's like, I'm going to be going to Thailand. Oh no, sorry, back up. Yeah, something about her, get her teeth or something like that. But he's going to be sending money for her for that. Why does she need teeth? Anyway, he loves that she pays him compliments. Ugh. Anyway, he's gonna be meeting up with his sister, and she is very protective of him. But does she know about Nui? Well, not quite. He tells her, so I met someone in Thailand. So because of that, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Thailand. Apparently, he already doesn't spend a lot of time with his family and potentially friends, if he has any. And he says that I want to be seeing the family, but she's not happy. He's like, I do help her, whatever, or I think help her with like the money and I think Kathleen Nui. He does help her with money, but he also doesn't seem to be hurting for money. And he does say that she also has a job of her own. So at least there's that. He has seen her about 4 times, approximately 6 weeks in total. And she says that she has 2 kids. And her sister is shocked by this. He's like, maybe, I'll have to go to the UK or whatever. Or he might move to, or she might come to the UK. He says that I might have to move to Thailand though, if that doesn't work out. And his sister's like, you don't know her. What if she gets back with the ex? Which seems like a stretch unless they ended amicably. I don't know. But it's just like, you have to leave to those bounds. But anyways, yeah, we see him coming in at one point. He was in the Marines for about 4.5 years. And we are in Thailand with her. She's 41 years old and she loves Thai boxing. That's really cool. And she says that she lives with her mom and she has a son and a daughter. And her mom is definitely cautious about the whole thing. And she says, does he have a wife and kids back in the UK that he's not telling you about? Is he lying? And she said, anyone can say that they love you. Just make sure that he's not lying to you. And again, I don't know enough about him to say either or, but definitely understand, where she's coming from. But her mom. But yeah, it's basically it for them. They're new to us, so it's not going to be a lot here yet. But let's move on to John and Sprite. I'm not sure if we have. Yeah, let's go on John and Sprite. So Sprite is going to be meeting John's sister, and John says that I hope I think he says that I hope that he or she doesn't bring up the whole hotel stuff of it all. Then why did you tell her? Why did you tell her if you think she wasn't going to say anything? You know what I mean? Just then don't tell her. But anyways, so she asks, like, how's it been? And he says, well, I got issues. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's not his thing. The forest and all that. And he's like, no, I don't see myself moving there permanently. Then after that, we start with the niceties. But then she says, my brother told me about some pictures in a hotel room with another guy. And Sprite says, okay, so about that. He's like, I did feel bad about it. He says that in the moment, Sprite does. But in front of his sister, he says, well, he did it first. What? He says apparently he was on dating apps and that he caught him so many times on the dating apps. And the funny thing here is that John doesn't really deny that those things happened, which is really interesting. But he did it 3 months ago, apparently. And John says, I can't believe he is telling my sister about this. Yet you literally told your sister about the hotel and the guy. So I'm confused. How can you be like, I can't believe he's saying anything when you did first? But anyway, back at the house though, John is going to tell him the truth about the dating app. And he says, I downloaded it, yes, out of boredom though. Lord. He said, but I didn't use it. That sounds like every man who used Ashley Madison. I was really bored. I didn't use it, but so dumb. Anyway. But yeah, then we just kind of start talking about like not trusting him and all of this nonsense, blah, 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 about the apps. But they're both like cheating on each other. You have John over here on dating apps that he shouldn't be on. And then you have Sprite talking to other men that he shouldn't be. And I mean, maybe in his own mind's eye, he can make excuses. But I do think he cares about him. So it's just like, what's going on with the both of you? But anyway, that's basically it for John and Sprite. But yeah, that's basically it for this episode of 9 Day UK. And it's also the end of this episode of the podcast. You will probably be getting the most recent one soon, hopefully. But either way, that is a wrap on this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Nicole, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.